Welcome, affiliated listeners, to another episode of the Affiliated Podcast. And for the first time, I'm actually in not first time, many times in a different surrounding. But today, because of some technical issues, we get to be inside the office of our VP of sales. So, fancy stuff. Hopefully this new mic sounds nice and crispy and you guys enjoy it. And today, since we're in a big professional office, we're going to have a big professional discussion. Not really, but we are going to have an amazing discussion with our guest today. He is going to bring in some fantastic strategies, specifically around a traffic source I don't hear that many people talking about, but they should be. And I'm going to talk a little bit why it's going to be such an amazing traffic source. And this is definitely an episode that you have to listen to, because the strategy we're talking about today, anybody can implement, and there's a reason why they should be implementing it now. So I think it's really, really excited that. With that, no further, we shouldn't wait for the amazing, the charming, the beautiful Francisco Bervis. How are you doing today, Francisco?
Thank you so much, Kyle. Wow, I have never been introduced in such a fantastic way. Dude, you're a rock star.
Well, you know, the one thing I didn't mention too is I just think, like, truly, if there was a fashion icon in I would say direct response, you would definitely be in that discussion. And look at the great background you have, the awesome painting, the great shirts. Always a man that has some flash and done in a way that seems authentic. So I love that.
I'm always here just to compete with Michael.
Yes. Michael does bring the dapperness to the game.
Between Michael and I, we're just always trying to one-up each other, I feel.
Yeah. You always have height on him, though, so at least he'll be easier to see.
He's got bigger hair.
That's true.
He's got me there.
True. Well, cool, man. Well, less on, because my big hair goes, instead of up that way, right? So, but let's talk a little bit more about a big thing, and really what I want to focus on today, and a traffic source that you have tons of experience in, and doing some really amazing things organically, and that's LinkedIn. So, before I kind of have you talk about that, I just want to kind of preface and let people know why I think this is so valuable right now. Is LinkedIn, as we all know, is a source primarily for professional businesses or people in some sort of business realm to engage with other individuals, find jobs. It's almost like your resume meets Facebook, right? Is kind of the world of LinkedIn. Why that's so substantial right now is as we finally see that job reports, unemployment starting to go up, and we see that new jobs are starting shrinking. Some of the economic outlooks do not look positive in terms of employment. So LinkedIn represents a place that a lot of people, if you're insecure about your job, you want a different job, or you're just looking, or you don't have a job at all right now, it's a place you're probably spending a ton of time. Maybe you should spend more time there if you don't have a job, but in general, it's getting a lot of eyeballs and a lot of attention because it really is a cornerstone of concern for people that are employed, unemployed, underemployed, and anybody that's worried about the economy is likely checking LinkedIn with increased regularity from when they might have been a year ago, 6 months ago, even a couple weeks ago. So I think it's definitely a really important time, and being able to utilize this traffic source in a way that's beneficial is going to be huge, because I expect it's just going to get more and more usage over the next couple of years. And Francisco has some really amazing strategies, amazing things with LinkedIn, and is going to talk about how you could take the really powerful tools of LinkedIn and organically use that to build an audience that you could offer products to. Super exciting stuff. So with that, though, before we jump into that, Francisco, I'd love for you to just give high level a little bit about just yourself, how you got on this podcast today, but really kind of that the abridged version of Francisco's story. We could probably skip, being born and high school and stuff like that, unless there's relevance there. But yeah, just tell us a little bit about your background.
So we started in the third grade. No, I'm just messing around. So for everyone who doesn't know me, I'm Francisco Bervis. I have been a lead generator for high ticket offers for the last 8 years. I was going on 8 years. And I've started dabbling into the affiliate marketing space almost 2 years ago. I've been well involved with companies like East Fifth Avenue, Forums, Amber Spears, HelpGrid, GNMI, all of these individuals, and so many other recognizable names in our industry, as well as just putting my hands where it doesn't belong, especially in certain industries. And I would say when it comes to LinkedIn, I have seen it work really well for a variety of different spaces within our community as well. So you can use it if you're an affiliate, you can use it if you're an offer owner, You can use it if you are a media ads individual. You can use it if you are just a person who doesn't really need LinkedIn for anything. You can use it and figure it out how to generate some kind of revenue for yourself. So I think that the best way I can kind of go about it is kind of talk some LinkedIn stats of what you should expect from the platform, and then what you should be able to pull from it, especially when it comes to deliverables. And I'll talk
Yeah,
about it in
yeah.
the three different ways from, let's talk about it if you're an affiliate. Let's talk about it if you're a email management company, and let's talk about it as if we are a offer owner looking for potential new business.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, yeah, let's. I love starting out right with like almost like what is LinkedIn, right? What can you expect
mhm.
from it? We kind of basically know people go on there, and outside some recently unemployed person annoying the hell out of you with their quadruple post a day, starting from positivity and negativity and the arc of desperation that goes along, or people that misuse it as a social platform. Tell a little bit about what LinkedIn is and what you could expect from it.
So on a high level, LinkedIn has around 900 million users worldwide.
Oh wow.
More than 70% of LinkedIn users are outside of the US. LinkedIn reports 2 new members join every second, and the platform is available in 24 languages, catering to a diverse global market.
So
Also, 57,
70% is outside the US on LinkedIn.
yes.
That shocks me. That's so interesting. So it really is a global platform for if
hmm
you have an offer that could appeal to that, you could get almost everywhere.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's why BizOps is a great opportunity for LinkedIn because you
Hmm.
can target anybody anywhere. And as long as your offer is translated in various languages, you can definitely A, B, C, D, E through Z test to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
what markets are going to generate revenue for you. I know that in the past, I've seen Netherlands be a really good place for some of my offers, and
Hmm.
it's converted well, especially when you write Dutch really, really cleanly.
Well, that sounds like a skill set that not everyone has, but yeah, I guess if you could do,
Hey,
Francisco, do you
Google.
know
Google goes
Dutch?
a long way.
Good, good. Okay, good. Yes, that's true. I'm sure there's AI translations out there, but yeah, I like that. Just learn some
hmm
Dutch. And well, I think one of the things too, and we'll get as we mentioned BizOp, and I kind of was talking about it before, when you look at economic conditions, that allows you to really bounce around and ride the news and the waves because we know viral trends matter. Right. So if you could hit opportunities, but not be locked into just the domestic United States, now you could go to like micro areas where you could probably
hmm
target. I would imagine. I don't want to be stealing things you could get out of it. I'm just talking through my head here, but I mean that allows you to really move and position your efforts across the globe when things are happening, so you could be really timely all the time.
For sure. I know that like right now, one of our best clients is a career coach. He
Mm-hmm.
has been with us for now 4 years, and he primarily targets engineers. He targets engineers between 1 to 5 years of experience. Also, these are all filters you have on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. They are free for you to, well, free for the most part for you to use. Sales Navigator you have to pay for, but the regular filters can still do most of this for you. So if you are running, if you're trying to run a LinkedIn campaign without spending any budget, there's an option for you.
That's awesome.
Um,
That's great.
for this
So
career
anyway,
coach,
going back, yeah.
however,
So it's
yes,
a global. It's huge. Only 70% or 30% in the domestic United States. The rest is international. Beyond that, it's you said it was two. Was it two new signups every second? Was that the? And
yes.
then you're going to another stat before my excitement interrupted. I apologize there.
Well, the platform, I think we talked about the platform being available in 24 languages, and then
Mm-hmm. Yep.
57% of LinkedIn users are male, while 43% are female, which is
Gotcha. Okay.
also very important to know.
Mm-hmm. It is
Yeah. So
interesting.
that's
Okay.
that's kind of how LinkedIn operates. And then some pro tips. Do not spend too much time working on your profile. Your profile, let's say you're doing a massive campaign, only 10% of the individuals will actually land on your profile. Make sure that your profile headline and banner tell people what you do, not who you are. Everyone always likes
Mm.
to say, I'm the VP of this, I am director of this, da 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 da. I'm like, no one cares. Especially on LinkedIn, use it as an advertising platform. Tell people what you do and what results they should expect from you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me who you are.
Yeah, because those titles are just, especially I feel like the more time you spend on LinkedIn, the more you realize the titles that people place on LinkedIn are so irrelevant. As you find some individual with 53 CEO titles from made up companies that, really just tells you they don't do anything. So no, I think
No.
that's really good advice. Now, why is it though that you think that telling them what you do, and maybe are there is that something that is there maybe some advice on how you structure that? Is it just you want to put it in your ad or your bio? Should it be really long? So yeah, kind of two-parter is why is it what you do matter more? And then what's maybe the best way to get that out of the way, or I
Okay.
guess project that on the profile?
I use it for two different things. One is if you're running an automated campaign, most individuals will see an invite. You'll either skip the whole connection message altogether, but you will read the person's name and the information right underneath their name. So
So
that's
that's where
going
you
to
want that
entice
action.
them. That's where you're going to get them interested in you. The second thing is if an individual is searching for, let's say, a nutraceutical company, and they are looking at the managing director for this nutraceutical company, that let's say that person has their name pops up and it says looking for new partners, looking for new retailers, looking for something. You now know, oh, I am looking for that. Let me reach out to that individual. So it
Yeah.
gives another opportunity for that person to connect with you directly and say, hey, I was looking for X, Y, and Z. I found you. Let's connect.
Because I imagine, at least I'm thinking of my own use in LinkedIn, volume seems to be the game at the end of the day. It's targeted volume, I feel like. So it's it's a low barrier to say yes and accept an invitation. But you're right. When you know how simply it is, it's almost like your headline for an email, right? It's easy to click to open something. The commitment to read is really contingent on if that subject line speaks to me in some way, shape, or form. So in a way, it's that's your subject line. So that's super
Yeah.
interesting. Any and not to bang this because I know you said, hey, your profile is not that important, but being that piece for that connection has to be pretty important. Are there any strategies around emojis? Because I've seen some people just clog that area with so much garbage. It actually, I'm go away. I don't know what's going on here, but which might be a targeting thing. But I don't know if you have any advice on the do's and don'ts for kind of think of that that description at the top when you're connecting with people.
Yeah. So I do a couple different things for that. Emojis go a long way, especially depending on who your demographic is. Demographic is everything. If your offer targets individuals over 50, do not use an emoji. If you're targeting individuals who are in their 30s down, you can use an emoji and it's okay. Also, make sure if whatever industry you're in, that is appropriate because let's say you're a lawyer. Do you really want a lawyer who's using emojis or wrong grammar on their profile? No.
Yeah.
However, before we dive into that and actual strategies, let's talk about the negatives of LinkedIn because I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that nobody really ever talks about those things and it gives you a box in which to play in better. So,
Okay.
LinkedIn is in a variety of different places, but a lot of people never really talk about that LinkedIn has different profiles for different individuals. So earlier today, for example, I was doing an onboarding for a client and they have two new categories for titles that do not pop up on any of my other profiles, which is entry level managers and senior level and experience level managers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that is a new title. When I click on that title, it does not filter people correctly. It gives me a very small number of what should be very large, which means that there are many new profiles who have connected to LinkedIn who have identified as either entry level manager to senior level manager, and everyone else got filtered out of those profiles. So that is a negative because you are now missing out on people. The same
Gotcha.
happens for maybe the other four type profiles, where some profiles will have my favorite category, which is consumer goods.
Mm-hmm.
Others will have consumer good rentals. Others will have consumer good services. And there's another one that doesn't even have it all together. So you are now missing profiles who did identify as a consumer good. Or let's say I'm on a profile that has a consumer good services. I will not be able to see people who identified as a consumer goods. The same thing happens with retail. The same thing happens with a couple other industries. So knowing what words, verbiage, titles to go after, that it will still pop up those individuals for you is going to be really important.
Gotcha. Which I imagine is some trial and error with something like that sometimes. You're just making sure you're keeping up to date. Because you want to find, because like that situation that you had this morning with the new titles, 6 months from now, that might look very, very different, because who knows how many people have updated their profiles, and those same results might look really different. But you have to know it's like, this is too new for me to rely solely on it. In fact, all it tells me is these are most likely new signups or people that recently updated their profile.
I still tested it out just because I like knowing things.
Yeah, right? But, I got to try.
yeah. We're in the industry of A/B testing and monetizing ADHD. So, for sure. What's the other thing? The other negative I have with LinkedIn is a lot of individuals say they do really good ads on LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn has the same issues for ads. You pay a lot of money for ads. You get very little out of it. Across the board, most of the agencies, most of the people I know who have run ads on LinkedIn have not seen any monetary value come back out of it. I think they would try a LinkedIn ads campaign for 3 to 6 months, and then they're like, wow, shut it down.
Yeah.
So I would say those are some of those negatives.
I believe our marketing teams are into that same thing. Outside occasionally if we're doing organic and boosting posts, but that doesn't always get you. The ROI is not super clean on LinkedIn ads. So at least that I've seen, and understand. So that makes a lot of sense. But honestly, so the two downsides, we should just recap. Upsides, mass potential, really, really solid targeting, right? And, huge exposure. It also, I think one thing that I like about it too, it is not purely a social network. So there's a type of conversation that's happening on LinkedIn that is not necessarily guaranteed to be happening on your other socials. Like it could be happening on socials, but it's there along with every other conversation in the world. LinkedIn's a little bit more refined. But the downsides are sometimes that targeting isn't precise, right? Because oftentimes it's what somebody entered into a form, which could be very, varied from thing to thing. So you have to be a little bit more savvy and kind of expand, be creative when you're filtering and doing your searches. And then the paid ads might be a bit of a great way to just say goodbye to money. If you'd like to you're like, I have too much of it, I'd like to donate it to a for-profit business. LinkedIn's obviously, maybe there's worse choices out there, but that feels like what it might be on an ad basis. And of course, if you're listening, you're like, no, I crush it with LinkedIn ads, and you have proof and you want to show us, please send in to affiliate@clickbank.com. Francisco and I will gladly get on and talk about it, and maybe even get you on to talk about it if you're having such success. That does sound super interesting. So
absolutely,
challenge accepted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Also, I would have a lot of clients for that person.
yeah, that's great. We might have someone for you. So that'd be great. So, but no, okay, that makes sense. So now we understand the platform. Let's talk a little about the strategy. So I think most people just kind of set the frame. I think most of us, when we get on LinkedIn, you might scroll through your feed, look at who's tried to connect with you, maybe look at some notifications, see if you're doing better than your friends from high school, right? See if any of your old workmates are still there. And, if Ted actually cut off his bowl cut, right? You want to maybe know those things, but, what's the strategy to engage with people? How are you going about and turning a platform that feels like getting a job into a job that's very profitable, or at least a channel and a strategy?
Okay, cool. So pro tip, if you want to stalk your old high school mates, you definitely want to create a fake profile, because LinkedIn will tell them if you looked at their profile, and you don't want to give them that satisfaction. Always be petty.
Of course, that's good. Petty advice from Francisco. That'll be a new one. Pretty Petty with Francisco. That could be your own podcast. Just come in.
Pretty and petty. I live in Miami, so that makes sense.
Oh, that's perfect, Francisco. I love that. You just need to have like a little dog for the episodes too. Pretty and petty.
I feel like that would be a cat energy.
You're right. It is. It's probably. I just hate cats, so I just can't bring myself there. But you're.
Oh, I'm allergic, but I will still do it for the joke. I will do everything for the joke.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So okay, so going to strategies, I actually had a fun idea that you just inspired, and it is, let's talk about ClickBank as an offer owner.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yes,
I love it. Let's do it.
Okay, so ClickBank is looking for new offer owners who are going to be using their platform, And it's also going to be looking for affiliates, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so
Here, let me type my
let's.
marketing team to listen in on this now.
So a fun strategy for this would be, all right, let's do an A/B campaign. Campaign A is going to be targeting affiliates. Campaign B is going to be targeting companies.
Hmm.
Now, we need to know a little bit more information on what is going to be a good candidate for each. I'm going to go ahead and say that you can pretty much cater to all types of affiliates as long as that they operate within the categories that ClickBank has.
Yep.
So nothing under gambling, nothing under THC, and nothing on anything considered high risk. I believe, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or
Okay.
just we say like CPL, stuff like that. Yeah.
Hmm. So I would go ahead, go onto LinkedIn. I would look at geography. Geography. I would look at pretty much anywhere in the world would make sense, but I would limit it to who speaks what language and what
Hmm.
offers do I currently have for these affiliates. I would probably do a more one-to-one conversation with these individuals versus scheduling a phone call with them because that's going to take way too much time and company assets. I
So when you say one to
would
one, just like messaging, you're going through a
messaging,
written.
yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would probably have five different, maybe 5 to 10 to 15, or everyone on ClickBank is now using. I have a system that reaches out to around 3,000 individuals per month
Oh
compared to
wow.
what, oh, another negative for LinkedIn is you can currently, since 2024, you can only do about 100 invites per week. However,
Mm.
using a software that I have, it still allows for around 2,000 to 3,000 individuals per month. So,
So just can you expand on that a little bit, just in case people are really unfamiliar? When you say you're only allowed an invite, what would constitute an invite, and why would that be detrimental based on the strategy? That might be revealed a little bit later,
mhm.
but if you just define that real fast.
Yeah. So in the good old days of LinkedIn, LinkedIn had no cap on what you could do. You also had no cap. I think you had 60,000 individuals that you would be able to be connected with
Hmm.
before you had any kind of other limiter. Nowadays, you have 30,000 as a limit, and you have about 100 invites per week because LinkedIn does not like automation. It does not like bots on their system. Granted, they launched their own bot that does not work.
They dislike bots so much they only let failed bots on their system, right?
Hmm. And essentially, that will limit your campaign because now what you were doing in volume now is limited to 400 per month, which
Yeah, that's tough.
this is a numbers game. You need to send out more and more invites. Think of email marketing, but in a one-to-one relationships with someone you've ever met. But
Mm.
if they connect, you get their emails, you get their phone numbers, and you get a direct line of communication with them. So
Wow,
even
and
if
they
they
don't have to
don't
opt in or
engage,
buy anything; just say
they don't have
yes,
to
and
opt
you
in or
have all the
anything. They just
info.
have to connect, and then you get all of that. Yes, that is correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So going back to the campaign, affiliates. Let's say you only operate in places that speak English.
Hmm.
We're going to go ahead and put that as a filter. We're going to put United States, Canada, English speaking countries, or where English is like India, where the majority of people speak English as well. So we're going to go ahead, throw English and throw India in there. We're going to throw in places like Brazil, who the majority of individuals still also speak English. So we're going to throw in these locations as a target audience. Then we're going to look at specific filters. We know that if we just type in affiliates, you're going to get all types of people, not necessarily affiliate marketers.
Yeah.
So you do not want affiliate managers for this campaign. You do not want affiliate marketing individuals. You do not want people who have agencies. You want individual affiliates who are going to be generating you traffic.
Hmm.
So on LinkedIn, there is a specific title that says independent affiliate,
Hmm.
and they will identify as they work for ClickBank, they work for your
Yep.
competitors, they will say that they work for something else, but now you can target them. You can specifically find that around the world there are 30,000 of these individuals. Cool. Now I'm going to segment this campaign. So using my profiles, I'm going to do one person in the US, I'm going to do one person here, I'm going to do one person there. So then there is no overlap, but that profile has a target area.
So you're doing multiple profiles for each campaign then. So just
Oh
to
yeah, you
clarify.
want to create the real moneymaker is when you create a small little army for yourself. Because one profile is
Nice.
going
Okay.
to do 3,000 invites out
Mhm.
of the time frame of 2 months, because it is a little slower, unfortunately, than what we're used to in the
Mhm.
D2C space.
Yeah.
Um, but it does grow very fast and it does grow in a very healthy way. Because let's say, for example, I ran a campaign recently where my emails did not work correctly, but we're fixing that. And out of 50 individuals who opened their emails, 42 of those clicked because the emails I'm using are active, viable emails that they use for important things like looking for a
Mhm.
job.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really that that's the inbox. That's a great point because I don't know what the statistics are, but I imagine on average most people probably have in between like 3 to 4 emails, right? Between work emails, personal emails.
Mm-hmm.
We all have the personal email I had as a kid that got clogged up with so much junk. We're like, I better make a new email. Or you could be like me and you forget your login, so then you just keep making emails because that's apparently easier than remembering a password. But you can know exactly if it's on your LinkedIn profile and you're active, that is the email you care about the most and you're actively looking for things coming to it. So I think that's really, really smart. I love that.
Yeah, and LinkedIn also verifies that those emails are active over time. So let's say you connected it to a work email that, let's say you got fired, you got laid off, that email got shut down. LinkedIn will
Mhm.
actually notify you within a week or two saying, hey, this email is no longer active. You need to replace it with something else.
Nice. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
awesome. So they're really keeping fresh primary emails up there, which I'd say for anyone listening that's been struggling with email, what a fantastic way to open up and expand how you can connect with your
Yeah.
customers is knowing that you're
I
going to
think
be able to get
right
that active in there.
I think right now with like a small little army I have, my email list grows about 20 to 15,000 individuals per month. So
That's
it
awesome.
grows very fast, and then I can
Mhm.
segment it by their titles, their industries, their locations, their name, first name, last name, email, phone number. I can do all of it.
So
So
cool. That's so cool. So much information. Like I
so
said,
much
you get
data.
that. Yeah, yeah, that's great. Without having to ask them to give it to you, right? Like if you had that in a lead intake form, your opt-in rate
Hmm.
would be so low because people are like, what are you doing? But it's just all right there. That's so great. So like real fast on your army, how like when if you're someone who's starting out, what would you say would be the expectation, maybe where they should target the amount of LinkedIn accounts that they should have?
Okay, so it just depends on who's starting where and what are they looking for. If
Okay.
you are looking, that's kind of why I wanted to focus on, okay, let's be an offer owner and use ClickBank as an example
Yep.
because it's
Yep.
going to give me both. It's going to actually give me both sides of it
Okay.
on
Well, how about this?
how am I going to,
Let's finish the example and then we'll circle back to that question afterwards because you might answer it for
yes.
me.
Okay. So going back to affiliates, now you have different individuals targeting different locations with, let's say, the same message that converts well. Obviously, A/B test your message first. Make sure you have the right audience and make sure you have the right message to go to that audience. Um, right individuals are going to have around a 15 to 20% connection rate. Let's say out of 1,000, you connected to 20 to 30% of those. And then for an engagement, you're going to look for anywhere between 20 and 40% engagement rate, which are individuals who are actually communicating with you. That
Perfect.
means you have a good message to a good audience. Anything less than that, you're going to want to change one thing or the next. Also,
Mhm.
there is the situations where there's a bug. There is a situation where you have a really high you have a high connection rate, you have a high engagement rate, and you are not getting any clientele from it. That actually tells you more information that your offer just isn't what your audience is looking for. So you might
Mm,
have to actually change your offer. So that's instant feedback that you can get to move quickly and pivot.
gotcha.
So on the affiliate side, you're now reaching out to all these individuals. You are asking them questions. You are moving them through a funnel. You are saying, hey, I saw that you're like working in XYZ. You're working as an affiliate. What type of an affiliate are you? I need information from that person to say, okay, are you a good candidate for ClickBank? You're
Yeah.
gonna ask them, oh, are you a media buyer, emailer, influencer? What type of? Just give me the information of what type of affiliate you are, and then what vertical do you typically like, and I can maybe make some introductions for you. So then that person will go ahead, give you the information. You can now you can have your virtual assistant, your team members go ahead, have an Excel sheet with that information created, their first name, last name, email, whatever information you needed additional to that. And then you can start segmenting an email list that will start promoting offers to that affiliate in order for them to go ahead and create an account, in order for them to start sending traffic to the offers on ClickBank. So that would be a great front end strategy for affiliates where it doesn't cost you a lot of money compared to ads because you are directly interacting with individuals and now you have those emails whether they opted in or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
imagine
it's an email
automation
that they
could really make you a
use.
lot of money in that process too, right? And we'll talk a little bit
For
about
sure.
some automation must haves, but no, that makes a ton of sense. And I really love that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go for the business owners. How would that change
So
as we
now
transition?
ClickBank
I'm
as now ClickBank as a company who is looking for business owners. Now you are not looking for affiliates, you're looking for founders and owners. The majority of your businesses that are in the D2C space are not major companies that have 500 employees. They typically
mm-hmm.
have less than 50.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go through LinkedIn. We're going to go through the filters. We're going to make sure that we are below that 50 employee size range. And we're going to go for founders, partners, and CEOs. We can even go for CMOs or COOs. Those are going to be the positions that we primarily like. And then we can maybe do an A/B test of that same message going to the higher ups, and then another message going to, let's say, an affiliate manager, director of affiliates, whatever the case may be,
Partnership,
something
something like
for that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, something for partnerships to have something a little bit more catered to those individuals and how it could benefit them and give them the incentives. So now we went from the offer owner having two different campaigns. One test A to see how the owners is going to translate over to, and then the
Mm-hmm.
other one going towards those specific titles because you can target them. So why not?
Yeah.
And that's kind
I'm
of how
going to
you would
stand up
create a
during
campaign.
this. I know. Keep talking, Francisco's. I just
Oh, no worries.
raise up.
I was just so distracted. I was like, "Oh, it's a
Yeah.
standing desk."
Whoosh, magic.
And this is Dom's desk too, right?
It is. I don't want to go
Oh, so
too
that
far, else
goes
people
high.
realize how. And now, if somebody wants to figure out how tall I am, they'll just have to figure out the time and the rate of these things rising, and then they could calculate it. And then comment on YouTube if you have no life, because that's what it takes to end up doing something like that. But anyway,
Or
so
that guy on TikTok who will just like go to your location and measure it for us.
oh yeah, there you go, there you go. So anyway, but sorry, back to campaign before I distracted us with standing up. So you're saying, but as you're building, you're going to want to focus on these types of individuals. You want to make sure you get the company size right, but all that information's there. So are you building a list of companies or a list of individuals still? Because that's one thing I was curious. I know you can look up companies as well directly on LinkedIn, right?
Yes, that is a good thing. So right now, what we're talking about are individuals who work for a company of a certain size, who look a certain way. Now, if you were, let's say, a business who is selling copywriting and you're like, okay, cool, your email list has to be minimum 15,000. The company should be generating somewhere around 5 million to 8 million to $10 million. Then you would go from the individual side to the company side of LinkedIn, where then you would put in the criteria of what the company looks like, what industry they're in, where they're located, how much money they're generating, how many employees do they have. And then that way you can create a list there. And then this is where it gets tricky. You then have to create a list and filter it over to the audience. So then you can go ahead and create your ideal client avatar, but then filter it through the companies that you selected prior. So then it'll only show you the individuals who work for that specific company.
Yep. Perfect. That's kind of the thing. It's almost like if you companies have to cross-reference your individuals that you're doing from the business side. You're just going to add that company as additional layer, essentially.
Yeah. It takes a little bit more time, but the targeting is significantly better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine as we go back to us as an example, right? We don't want every business owner. We need a business owner that is in the right verticals or with businesses that we could help. So that would be a way that you could kind of distinguish that and get the large list of business individuals we want, but hopefully in industries that we want as well.
Exactly. So we can definitely look and filter all of the industries. We could definitely go ahead and look at how much money those small businesses, well, not small, but small in the size of employee counts, and make sure that we can target those individuals. Because let's say for the most part, you're going to find, let's say I do founders less than 50 in the state of Texas, you're gonna find 40 to 50,000 businesses that would fall into that category, maybe more. The idea is always to minimize. Like, how
Mm-hmm.
can I get that 50,000 list segmented into lists of maybe 1,000?
Mm-hmm.
Start doing more. Okay, cool. I have individuals who are doing X, Y, and Z. They, for like, let's say ClickBank, they should be in business for less than 3 years because that's usually when they probably convert over to affiliate marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they would have to have, I would want somebody a little bit more experience in the game. So I would want somebody over 5 years of experience in business, not just less than a year, 2 years where I have to hold their hand the whole time.
Yeah.
And these are all filters. Another thing that I always recommend doing is clicking on the filter that says somebody who has posted content in the last 30 days, because those are
Mm-hmm.
going to be people who engage at a higher
Nice.
rate
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because
And like
they're
we said
actively
before,
using
that'll
the
really tell
platform.
you. Yeah, they'll tell you exactly. I could tell you, especially if you're trying to get people in a certain moment of time as well.
Hmm.
Because I imagine your LinkedIn activity is probably tied to a lot of other specific behavior that might be going on. So that's good.
Hmm. I mean, there's a couple other goodies in there, like, oh, recently changed jobs,
Yep.
somebody who recently posted, somebody who has been in their position for less than a year. Those are
Nice.
all really good things. Going back to the career coach as an example, I'm going to bounce around back and forth. It's just
Yeah,
who I
yeah.
am as a person. So going back to the career coach, one of their campaigns that was the most profitable one, I think last year where Microsoft and a lot of these software companies were doing a lot of layoffs. They started
Hmm.
targeting all of those companies director level down and just reaching
Nice.
out to people saying, "Hey, do you want to update your resume? Do you want to do like a quick little review of your resume? Do you want to see what's out there? Do you need some help finding a job?" And that converted well because everyone at those companies was like, "Oh, I'm seeing people get fired left and right. I
Yeah.
should have a resume updated just in case."
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so funny. Like about a month ago, I talked about that same thing with somebody where it's like, dude, you should follow layoff trends. Because if you know there's layoffs going on, and it's not just the people that got laid off, but more importantly, the people that are still there. Because the finality of your job just became very real. And I think sometimes a lot of us operate thinking, everything's fine. I'll just keep working here until I decide not to. But
Yeah,
you know, it doesn't always work that way. So it's always good when you could have that fear state, or at least
yeah.
that reality set in, depending on
Another
what you're
cool
offering.
thing that you can look at for when it comes to market trends is companies that were recently purchased or starting their acquisition or like their acquisition phases.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those are not going to make decisions that high ticket offers or let's say ClickBank would be interested in because they're not going to do anything for the
Hmm.
next 6 months to a year, maybe more,
Yep.
depending on
Yep.
how much they have to integrate. Because all of their dollars are going into integration. They're going to fire people, they're going to let some people out, they're going to move people around.
Hmm.
So no one's taking a risk on anything.
Yeah. 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 Just got to get through this. And if anything, you're looking for who the redundancies are, depending on what you're offering. Right. So no, that's really
Exactly.
good. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's awesome. Okay, cool. That's super cool. So, wow, you get some very specific information, especially on like the state that somebody might be in. That's really cool.
Hmm. Well, part of one of the onboarding questions I always have is I like to go back to Napoleon Hill, who
Hmm.
talks about the human motivators. And when, as a copywriter, you have to think of what's going to make this person do my CTA. Your
Hmm.
CTA can be a variety of things of opt into this funnel. It could be, oh, schedule a call with me. It could be schedule a meeting. It could be book subscribe for a ticket for an event that I'm doing, for a webinar, for an in person thing. Whatever your CTA is, what is motivating that singular human being to say, I want this? I'm missing out if I'm not speaking to him or her. Um, I'm I do relate with this message. Let me go ahead and engage at some degree. Because the goal
Hmm.
isn't always to get people to do the CTA, but the goal is to get people to engage you because the engagement will give you information on how you could potentially better your message or better your offer. It gives
Yeah.
you real time things that people are going through. And the good thing about LinkedIn is people share way too much.
Okay.
A little too personal sometimes. Other
Hmm.
times people do get upset with you and they're like, "Oh, you shouldn't use a platform like this. Don't reach out to me or my daughter ever again." Blah 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 blah. And you're just like,
I
I
don't know.
sent
We're
you
going after
one
these
message.
families here, Francisco.
You got to go for the legacy. Just
Yeah. Right. No, I think that's really interesting. And I imagine though that engagement though, like they're talking to you, right? That's what matters most. And I like what you said, because, well, they're engaging, or sometimes the ads, if they don't engage, you're probably, you might not target them again. You're going to move on. But with this, it's something where you get a second opportunity, you get another opportunity with these individuals. I will say it's not always like you have a lot more tolerance to keep somebody in your connections on LinkedIn, I would imagine, than other sources, for sure.
Well, because you're connected with that person. And
Mm-hmm.
even if that person never engages you, they're going to be looking at your content.
Yep.
Whether you're posting, sharing, they're going to be seeing your content. And the good thing about LinkedIn content is that it lives longer than most other platforms. Because let's say you could, well, let's say, for a good example, let's say Susan, AB, Francisco Bervis, and Susan. Francisco has 30,000 connections. I'm not going to see everyone's content. I also don't scroll, but I'm not going to see everyone's content. I'm going to see the people I most likely engage with the most at the top, but it's going to be very similar to Facebook at that level.
Yeah.
But your average Joe who doesn't do LinkedIn automation is going to have anywhere between 10 connections and maybe 300 total, maybe 500. And LinkedIn will actually show you on their profile if this person has over 500 connections. Now, a lot of people do not post on LinkedIn. Let's say a 5% of individuals on LinkedIn that I'm currently connected with are the ones who post, which means Susan will see something I posted months ago because the algorithm's just recycling through content.
Yeah, because there's not as much a high volume of posting, especially probably quality content. So imagine if your content gets engaged on your post because you targeted your campaign well, it could really live there for a long time. That's really interesting.
I think I did a webinar a couple months ago with Finexa, and I'm still getting engagements from there.
Wow.
From months ago.
That's awesome.
Which you don't see that happen on Instagram, Facebook, unless it's a bot.
Yeah, exactly. Reposting over and over again, something like that. That's great. That's really, really great information. So anyway, so it seems like the targeting's super powerful. It's just super duper powerful. You have to do a little bit of work, but you get in there, you can engage. So let me ask, I want to actually dial back to a little bit more specific. So you've gotten your list. Say we could go, let's use the ClickBank example. We have our list now of affiliates and offer owners. We got it all filtered out. Now we have to engage with them. And the first engagement is trying to get that connection. So is there a script you're using? What's the best way to go about it? I mean, do you have are you manually going and checking all these? Like, how do you go about essentially starting that outreach process to take from a a lead to a connection, and then after that from connection to a sale?
Okay, that is a good question as well. So I would say my first step is understanding the service or product that I'm trying to promote. Step 2 is creating a target audience of individuals I think are going to be a really good fit for this. And then honing in on that audience, getting to that segmentation of maybe 1,000 individuals, and then scrolling through that list to look at images of those people, to see kind of like what their age ranges are, to see what their titles are, how long they've been there, because all of that information is going to give me a little bit more information of who these individuals are. And then I would go ahead and create a sequence of messages that I think is going to be a good fit for this audience. Now, you can send, so now let's talk about the steps of LinkedIn and then how automation can boost it up and make it real sexy. LinkedIn allows for one message to go out with every invite. So we call that a connection message. Then I typically do, when somebody connects with me, I typically try to do 13, 15 minutes after they connect with you and don't engage with that message. I'll typically push a meat and potato message is what I call it. The meat and potato message is because it's doing a quick little intro. It's telling you what I do, and it's saying I connected with you because of X, Y, and Z reason. However, everyone listening to this podcast right now just rolled their eyes because they're saying, "Oh my God, I get 10,000 of those. I get 10,000 of those messages a day."
Yep.
Now, the real bread and butter of how the automation and LinkedIn works for this is making your message human. and making it very you. I have used phrases like, you're ugly, because everyone reads that. And then
Yeah.
they're like, why'd you say that? I'm like, haha, made you look. And then have a little like fun engagement, like do a couple spaces so they can't see it in the preview.
Yeah.
And then do a couple like, got your, right. This isn't just your normal LinkedIn message. I needed your attention
Yeah.
because blah, 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 blah. Making the message really interesting and playing with the mechanics of what they're going to be looking at. They're going to be looking at their phones. 90, I think 80 something percent of individuals who are looking at LinkedIn are using their phone. I'm sure you get this too on LinkedIn. You get paragraphs of
Yeah.
individuals reaching out to you. I'm like, I'm not reading that.
Yep, every
Who
time.
reads
Well, I
that?
shouldn't say every
Yeah.
time. Whenever I see that, I'm just like, no, thanks. Like, you're asking for a lot of me in a platform that I spend never a lot of time reading anything. Like, I'm not going to go read a 5-minute article that you wrote up. And I know it sounds, but 5 minutes is a lot of words to write, or 10 minutes, whatever. I'm just like, ugh. So no, I totally agree with that. So you got to be pretty simple, punchy. And maybe I would say you're trying to get engagement. So the first step really should just be, hey, are you willing to connect and engage with me? Right.
Yeah. Usually there's different strategies that I've done in the past where the automation will not send out a connection request because my headline is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for me, but I just need that individual to connect with me. So I know that if my connection rate is still at that 15-20%, we're doing great. That audience is still wanting to connect with me because of the headline or because my profile picture is beautiful. But they are still looking to they're like willing to make that effort because now they're connected. I always want to re-engage them as quickly as possible, similar to abandoned carts. The quicker you engage that individual, the better the conversion rates are going to be.
Yeah.
So
Yes. And you found 10 minutes is kind of the threshold that you target.
I would say 10 to 15 because if you set it up to do it immediately, automatically everyone is saying it's automated. I'm not interested.
Yeah. Or they're a weirdo. Like they're sitting around waiting for you to say yes, right? Like no, neither one of those are positives, I would imagine.
No, not at all. Some people are always scared of doing things on their own individual profile. They're like, oh, that's my name out there. I'm like, you can meet this person tomorrow and they're not going to recognize you. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because it's not like the profile pictures are always massive either. It's definitely not a photo-oriented medium or network, I should say.
Exactly. And then let's say once that meat and potato message goes out, people will engage. Some people will not. Some people might open it, might be interested. They might forget. Again, you're looking at it on your phone. Your cat just threw up. Your kid just texted you that something happened at school.
Yep.
Whatever the case may be, that person forgot. They abandoned that message. So we are now looking at, okay, cool. How am I going to re-engage that person that doesn't seem spammy? In the past, I have done maximum 7 days, where 7 days later, I'll say, hey, I sent you a message last week. Just wanted to make sure you got it. Something quick, easy, one line of text. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot, or I don't even remember opening it. I just read your message now. Yeah, let's talk. Or I have a question actually. Or can you send me a case study? What's your website link? X, Y, and Z. Or I did read your message. I'm not interested. Thank you. I'm like, okay, cool. Done. Easy. But they still don't disconnect with you. So that's why posting content too.
Yep.
And then let's say individuals still don't engage that message. I will do one more follow-up.
Gotcha.
And then I'll do another follow-up. Now I've moved the first follow-up to 3 days. I feel like 2 to 3 days is a good new beautiful spot.
Yeah.
And then that second follow-up, I would still push it to maybe 4 to 7 days.
Yeah.
Just so it
you don't
doesn't
seem
feel
harassy.
spammy.
Yeah.
Exactly. I want to be pushy, engaged to some level on your cell phone, but I don't want to be like, hey, here's this, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And usually that final farewell is my farewell message saying, I'm not going to keep hunting you down. I just saw your profile again. I want to do X, Y, Z. Here you go. Boom, 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 boom. Sent. Here's a link. Here's a link to my website. Here's a link to some free resources I want to send you. And that's usually how I go about it.
Nice. Nice. No, I love that. It's one of those things. So again, so in general, it's about a 3 message sequence basis. The
Mm-hmm.
first one's just essentially get the attention, but even it sounds like most of the time the follow-ups are going to come through, and then having that third final kind of send off if you still don't get anything. No, that sounds awesome. So now once you get the connection, they've engaged, you have the information, you've qualified them, appropriately, and now you go to transition the email. How does that process go?
So I always think of LinkedIn as email in the same way, because
Okay.
you can let's talk about outbound, inbound. Outbound is individuals you are not connected with that you are sending out invites and sending out messages to. Brand new individuals who are connecting with you. Inbound are individuals you're already connected with. So let's say I've been running this campaign for 2 years now, and I haven't talked to a lot of those individuals from that first year in over 6 months to a year. What can I do? What do I currently have that would be exciting for these individuals? Is there an invite? Is there, let's come back to ClickBank. You're hosting a dinner in New York City. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of those links, all of those individuals, and I'm going to filter out New York. So that way I have everyone who's in New York who is an ideal candidate for us. I'll do my filters, of course. And then I'm going to send a message to those individuals saying, hey, we haven't connected in a while. Ugh, I hate that message. Just something quick off the top of my mind.
Yeah.
Hey, we haven't connected in a while. I'm doing X, Y, and Z in New York City. I remember seeing you. I had you on my list. I would love for you to be my VIP. Sign up here.
Nice. Yeah.
And then I would do a follow-up as well. Because everybody wants to be VIP. This is your sales funnel. Everyone is general ticket. We're not going to charge them for dinner or whatever. We just want you to be there and to come look for me while you're there.
Yeah. No, I like that. Again, you're curating experience. You're getting them to kind of opt in, delivering on something. And then from there, so then I guess the one piece is like, so once you get them the email with the opt in, as you engage with them,
let's move over to emails. Let's move into emails, because you did ask me that question, and I wanted to first talk about inbound, outbound on LinkedIn. That you can use it for both things. And then now let's move it over to emails, because now we're moving the platform. We're moving individuals from LinkedIn over to emails. So also depends on how you want to go about it, but you can definitely still reach out to individuals where, let's say you have an army who's representing ClickBank, and you go ahead, scrape all of the profiles for the data. You have all of the data, and now you are just segmenting it into email. So you can definitely let them know, like, hey, we connected on LinkedIn. We're so happy to have you. Here's a quick little 1, 2, 3 email with some additional information. See if they engage, see what they do, see what their stats are. Look at what your open rate is, look at what their reply rate. Do something that engages that person, because you're going to see, on average, from what I've seen doing this, 3 to maybe like a 3% unsubscribe rate.
Gotcha.
Which is not bad.
Yeah.
Depending on how spammy your emails are. Because these are individuals who came from a platform where they don't want to read too much. They want minimum engagement. So I would treat them the same way.
Gotcha. Which means, so your copy and emails need to be very short and punchy. We're still not sending them novellas or anything like that. We need to keep it as the minutes of the day kind of emails, very short.
I have to say that here, because our D2C friends are notorious for novels.
Yeah, exactly. You just tell a story. I'm like, well, let's tell a faster story, shorter, and maybe do it over several connections. So, so you're trying to get like that like a very engaged, punchy email right from the get-go. Now, with the first email, is it offering something right away, or are you just trying to like establish a base of relationship? Like, I want you to keep opening this because we want to see where we're at, and then get them some behavior warmed up before you start promoting stuff?
I would say it still depends on your audience, because if you're just an affiliate, if you're operating as an affiliate, you can definitely just, I'm not saying this is something you should do. I'm not saying this is something you can't do, but I'm saying that some people will scrape the information and just burn through that list. or send a lot of swipes directed to these individuals. All you have to do is make sure that the target audience or the titles make sense for the offer you are promoting to.
Yeah.
And you will typically see a very high click rate for these. I think that's the best way to say that without saying anything.
That's good. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. Very high click rate. Okay. But in general, so that still sounds, so kind of go back to forward. So you get some really, you're hopefully ideally getting good clicks. You've targeted the right people. You didn't spam the hell out of them. So like with the content you're delivering, I imagine it's going to vary from offer to offer, but let's have to mix it. Well, yeah, let's go back to ClickBank. So we know affiliates will shoot. Let's talk the offer owner side. So I have my offer owner. They just came through my first email, just maybe engaging on, hey, here's why I'm talking to you. Here's what we're going to do more. How many, or what would that very high level, let's say we're selling a BizOp product. We want to sell the business owner Spark that's going to teach them affiliate marketing. Let's just say it's on a business side. It kind of teaches the basics of how to use ClickBank. So I've got them engaged. I've now pulled them off the platform. They responded to the first email, established what we're going to be talking about. How many emails or how long do you wait on average in LinkedIn before you'd make a push for the CTA, and kind of what would that look like?
Okay. So if I'm going to be promoting Spark via LinkedIn, I would do it in that first, not the connection message, but the first message that goes out to them. I would just have to make sure that the message is very short, straight to the punch. That's why I say get to the meat and potatoes of it. Don't give me a side salad.
Yeah, get right in. Just boom. All right, gotcha.
Yeah. Pour this gravy into my mouth.
Gravy injections on the way.
And then we have, so starting there, you go ahead, do all that intro, you get them to engage there. Let's say individuals did purchase, you're going to blacklist them off that email list. And then you're going to scrape all of that information and then put them into a
buyer sequence or whatever.
A buyer sequence, whatever the sequence may be. Now, because you are now moving them onto email, you're engaging them in a different way, in a different light. You can use visuals, you can use videos, you can use a little bit more. I would say I would A/B test one where they get a free giveaway where they're technically opting into a funnel for yourself. That you are giving them an ebook, some free videos, something just to get them started. Because I'm going to say that the majority, and this is from my experience with affiliate marketing programs targeting business owners, most of the individuals do not know what you are talking about or lack the experience of. And let's say even when it comes to email conversions, they don't think of emails as a converting platform. They think of email as more brand building. So my goal, me understanding that, is saying my goal here is to educate individuals in the shortest amount of time. And to bring value to these individuals and to give them a DIY option and we do it for you option. So I would test out those two options of emails in that first email to see what converts better. What is giving me a better quality of a clientele? And I would just do maybe a 500 test each just to see how that converts really quickly. And then take that information and then scale it. I would do one intro slash pitch message where it's giving them something, it's giving them that value, it's giving them that information that we just talked about, the A/B. And then I would have a very short follow-up to that same thread. Then I would do a third email, but as a different thread, probably pushing something else or introducing them to something.
With the idea, hey, maybe this isn't quite land. You know, we have kind of the training thing for that gap, and then here's like, maybe there's something else. Almost dropped my water bottle. So I'm talking too much with my hands. No, that's really good. I love that strategy, and just being able to segment them that way. I get
the ClickBank emails, and for me, they're a lot just because I'm the I text everybody. I'm like, hey, I'm unsubscribing from your thing. It's not you, it's me. Because I have, I think, like 7 or 8 emails, and I think currently I have it down to only 3 unread emails.
Look at you. I'm impressed because
I
right
know.
now I am at 71,000 unread emails.
Sweet Jesus.
72, sorry, 72. But I did start using a service that got it down from, I was at over 80,000. So we're making progress. We're getting there. But
Okay.
yeah, so no, well, here, how about this? Because we've talked a lot about what we do and kind of like that business, if we're going with like the ClickBank side of things. What would you do if you're doing more like a BizOp product or maybe even like something that wasn't BizOp? What if I wanted to offer, I wanted to find individuals that are in high performance positions because I wanted to present to them a nootropic as a way, or maybe like a workout program for executives.
I can use one of my clients I can use
Beautiful.
my personal trainer as a example for you.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. And then maybe even if you have the other one, I'd love to hear with that is maybe an example of what you do, what you've done from like a software company. I know we're a
Okay.
software company, but more as like a search, but something else that might be in the software realm.
You guys are more just like friends with benefits kind of company.
Yeah, right.
So let's talk about Monster Cast Fitness. I have 100% capability of dropping names now for him.
Perfect.
So he is a private personal trainer in the private studio here in Miami. And obviously because he is a physical location, he's hyper local. So he is in the Brickell downtown area. I target 33131, 33132, and 33131, 33 and 34 as the zip codes within that area that are going to be a good candidate for him. Minimum clients are spending $1,200, $1,400 with him monthly, sometimes more than that, depending on how many times they want to see him. If they're doing recovery, if they're doing stretching, whatever they are doing, he will provide the service for them. But it is a high-end service for fitness, at least. Now, again, for him, he does actually include like nutraceuticals. He does include like a bunch of other items as well, or referrals to other services like deep tissue massages, physical therapy as well. But there's partnerships that are there.
Yeah.
So on LinkedIn, I will actually cater the audience. Instead of doing Miami, Florida, I would do the zip codes on LinkedIn. Then I would go ahead and target specific companies. Let's say I would look at what companies are in the areas. I would do both sides. I would do companies in the area generating X amount of revenue, and then I will target their director level and above who should be able to afford his prices. But I know that people who have been in those positions less than a year are not going to be a good candidate for him.
Yeah.
So we're going to look for individuals who are 3 years plus. Now, years of experience, we're also going to look at individuals who are 40 to 50 years old. So we're going to do above 8-10 years of experience in general. So that way they are not in their early 20s, because his clientele is not early 20s.
Yeah, you could do that yourself in your early 20s. Figure it out, right?
Yeah, your knees don't hurt, your back doesn't hurt. You're good.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll eat Frosted Flakes in the morning and have a 6-pack abs.
Yeah, and 5 minutes afterwards, you'll poop yourself to 6-packs. That's the way it works in your 20s,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, you go Taco Bell, poor man's cleanse, call it a day.
Yeah, right. I love that. Okay, so you target those older individuals that aren't pooping out Taco Bell without a severe hangover for 4 days afterwards. Going after them, you've got it identified. And then, so my curiosity then is on the campaign, the profile, how are you engaging? Is it him? Is it you? Is it in between? What does that look like for the engagement with them?
I am the best kept secret in the space because no one knows I exist. I do everything under the client's profile.
Nice.
Because nobody wants to speak to a company. Nobody wants to be introduced to someone they don't know. So whoever's taking a sales call, let's say he does a in-person meetup, that he invites them to the studio. They have a free session with them, and obviously because he can pre-qualify them before they even show up. But for other individuals, let's say when I'm doing lead generation for a specific service, their Calendly will have all of the details for them where it says, okay, your company is generating how much money, you are looking at this number of employees, what is your current problem, whatever questions you want to include as a pre-qualifier, you provide it. So when individuals do book a call, you can actually cancel the call in advance and say, I was reading through your questionnaire. I don't think you're a good fit for me just yet. However, I want to provide you with these resources, and I would love to schedule a call within 6 months of you implementing these resources, if that's okay
That's
with
awesome.
you.
Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
sounds
So
great.
then you
That's really
don't
cool.
lose a lead. You don't, not waste
Hmm.
your time, but you don't dedicate time to somebody who's not going to be a good lead for you right now.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Well,
there's,
especially when you're in that business, like time is so precious for you. So you don't want to
yeah.
be putting people on that you know you're going to disqualify in 3 minutes. It's a bad experience for both sides. It really is every time.
Hmm. Or what's another good, you mentioned a software company. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
just a
guess we
software
can't say
too. I
the
feel like
name.
that's another. Okay.
So there's this company that was using the software that eventually sold to the big mouse because their software is used for um, selling on a television platform.
Mm.
And what this platform does, they originally had maybe three salespeople for this platform, and they were just selling it to all kinds of media outlets, TV shows, whatever. And they had their three salespeople doing tons and tons of cold calls, tons and tons of research, and they had beautiful salaries with great commission structures, and it was not optimized. So their
Mm.
owner actually was introduced to me by another friend of mine, Luminaire Award winner. I love him. He's great, John Flatt. And he actually like introduced us, and once we got like moving into that direction, we were able to start generating warm leads for a lot of their salespeople. So their salespeople now had about eight to nine warm pre-qualified leads for themselves every day.
Oh
Sometimes a little
wow.
bit less, but almost
Yeah,
every day.
that's great. That would be what
Yeah,
a great way to start your day.
because because now those salespeople don't have to spend all of this time focused
Mhm.
on doing research. They could actually just spend time on the phone or doing calls.
Hmm. Yeah, selling, right? What you actually
Yeah,
hired him to do. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
yeah.
Well, real fast, because I realized I like kind of lost track of time. We're already over the hour, and so I want to be conscious of your time, and we're getting close. We're not going to be able to talk anymore. So what we really do is this is an amazing strategy. I think one of the things I love about this is we kind of covered whether you're an affiliate and you're looking for a different traffic channel, which one we oftentimes get. How do I get started as an affiliate without paying for traffic? I don't have the money to pay for traffic. I don't want to put that out there. Boom. We just laid out a way that you could do that. And even still, if you go to premium, where obviously not paying is just like all things is going to limit your scale. I imagine going to premium is still much more affordable than maybe trying to buy traffic on a paid channel, right? So the
Hmm.
standard tier one social networks.
Well,
And I think
I'll interrupt you
oh,
real quick for that, just
yeah,
because it's gonna make
you
sense.
bet.
So for those individuals who do not want to do that whole process of, okay, I'm gonna pay for traffic that's gonna lead them to a website, and if they don't opt in, I lost that money.
Yep.
LinkedIn, if they connect with you, you already have that information. You don't
Yeah.
have to
So you
do all
could
of that.
build
It's a little
over time.
slower. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a little slower, and the targeting is sometimes better depending on the service or offer you are trying to promote.
Yes, true. True. But I think that, again, it provides such a great opportunity. So, whether you're affiliate, if you're an offer owner right now, this could be a fantastic new channel for you. And I think the other thing, you might be a service business. This is another fantastic route. So, I think there's, whether you're a company, whether you're an individual, whether you're an affiliate, there's so many opportunities. In fact, the other part of this, kind of what you're doing, there's an opportunity for you to create a business out of this, doing this for other individuals once you get good at it. So, I think there's lots and lots of opportunities here. Now, the other thing too is I know you do a lot of great things, but some people might be looking at this and like, gosh, I don't really want to do this myself, but I see the value. And can Francisco just do it for me? You mentioned clients. So what I'd love to do is actually give you a chance to say, how could those people get a hold of you? What you would want, kind of essentially tell them if they would be right, who that person should be, not just somebody that doesn't want to do this, but who do you want to work with, as well as tell everyone kind of what other stuff you have going on so you get the full thing. Because I will just say, people, Francisco is really the best. He's great to work with, great to talk with, great to be around. So it's nice when you can make money with people that make you laugh and feel like they're fantastic in the process. So I just
Um,
want everyone to know, because I want more people to work with Francisco, because I've enjoyed you so much. So I want more people to have that same experience. So let the people know.
all right, thanks, Sal. So I would say if you are looking for a done for you service or half managed service, or I could teach you how to do it yourself, You can definitely reach out to me. You can reach out to me on, actually, no, you can't find me on Skype anymore. Um, you can definitely reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook. You can reach out to me via email, which email is going to be so much easier. You can reach out to me at Francisco at Century Leads, Century with an SentryLeads.com.
And we'll make sure to put that in the show notes too. So for people that
Oh,
aren't
even
me,
better.
that cannot like hear words and then spell them for some reason. I was definitely a spelling bee like failure at all things. So we'll make sure to put those
At
in the
least
show
you
notes
competed.
not beyond standing in front of your classroom and losing real fast. So, but no, that's great. We'll make sure to do that. And yes, for all the services, again, this is huge. I think I just want to reiterate, we're seeing a shift in the economy when LinkedIn, I would bet a lot of money and really, really put this as something it's going to increase in traffic. So the time to learn is right now because there's going to be more and more people there. And since it is a little bit slower, if you start growing now, think where you'll be next year when all the traffic continues to increase. So really, really fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
So Francisco, again, I just want to, go ahead. Yep.
Oh, and one more plug for ClickBank. So I do have the course coming out for individuals to learn how to use my software, to individuals to learn how to use LinkedIn as a pro and become really dangerous for it for you or their teams at $47 a month. It will be on ClickBank very soon.
Beautiful. That's exciting.
Hopefully by the time this launches, it will be out and about, but I am still working out some of the kinks.
Well, if it's ready in time for this episode, we'll make sure to put that in the show notes. If not, you have ways to engage. So honestly, just email Francisco and say, when it's ready, let me know. So we could build that list. And of course, I'd say connect with you on LinkedIn, but since you're a man of mystery maybe not.
I will not see it.
Yeah.
Don't connect with me on LinkedIn. There's too much happening there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, beautiful, man. Really appreciate the time. I want to thank all of you guys. Please rate, review, subscribe. Also, we mentioned lots of things like for those out there that are like, I can't do LinkedIn ads, please email us. We want to hear it. We do read those emails. We do engage with it. Thomas reads them and then tells me about the ones that are real good. So until next time, though, like I said, rate, review, subscribe. And since Thomas isn't here, I will say it in his stead. Happy scaling. Thanks so much, Francisco.
Bye, guys.